All right, welcome back. So I'm going to give you a few quick start questions so that you can get moving, so that you can get a head start, right? We're going to go into the how and why on some of these questions in a lot more detail later in the course, but I want to give you something that you can start using immediately so you don't have to wait until we go through some of the meatier things, okay? This is your quick start formula of successful discovery, and we're going to talk about 3 questions to get started. So question number 1 is asking your buyer after you've warmed them up a little bit, what are the challenges that you're facing in X area, where X area is the typical problem area you solve, that would derail you if you didn't solve it 6 to 12 months from now. Okay, there are a couple phrasing variations you can experiment with. You can say, what would derail you if you didn't solve it 6 to 12 months from now? You can say, what would be problematic if you didn't solve it 6 to 12 months from now? You can even say, what would you regret not solving 6 to 12 months out? Now, the point is, this is a great starter question for new discovery calls. Again, once you've warmed up your buyer a little bit, because it acts as a filter, okay? They start talking naturally about important and urgent forest fires that are going on in their business as a result of some of the phrasing and language. In other words, they're not going to talk about small little brush fires that they're going to totally forget about by the time you're done talking with them. They will talk about problems that have staying power. Okay, that's because you're phrasing it in such a way that says, what would you regret not solving 6 to 12 months from now? Now you're eliminating recency bias and you're only getting them to talk about the important things. Okay, question number 2 in the quick start formula. What challenge is going on in your business that's driving that to be a priority? Okay, this is one of the most important questions that you can get right when it comes to your discovery skills. It's usually the second, maybe third question you ask after you start asking about a business problem. And the reason it's so effective is it gets to the need behind the need, which we are going to talk about in detail later in this course. So your buyer starts sharing some surface level questions with you, or not surface level questions, but surface level challenges with you. And you say something like, hey, what's going on in your business that's driving this to be a priority, right? It sounds like you probably had a meeting with your executive team at some point where you originally defined that challenge. What did that conversation sound like? I want to understand the context that set this entire thing in motion. And what you'll notice is many times buyers are going to kind of chuckle to themselves when you ask this question, because it forces them to think about the train wreck or just big kind of hairy problem in their business, right? Most salespeople are not asking questions like this. And then question number 3 in the quick start formula, what metric would improve the most if you solved this challenge, right? You got to ask these more or less in the right order. It doesn't have to be exact or one after the other, but each of these 3 questions builds on the previous one. And what this question is really powerful for is starting to quantify value, right? Most customers are going to share challenges that you don't necessarily know how to quantify it, right? And they don't quantify it for you. And so when you ask what metric would improve the most if you solved this challenge, they talk about a metric that usually has financial value associated with it. And we're going to talk about this one in depth later in the course. So here's a quick exercise for you to get started. Write down a version of one of those that you would be comfortable asking on a live sales call, and then go give it a try. I want to start to get you in the habit of using things very fast after you learn them. We'll talk about more why that is a little bit later in the course. But learn something, use it, learn something, use it, reduce the delta between learning something and trying it out in real life. Go do this exercise before you move on, and I will see you in the next lesson.